Cable Tonight Show. I am Ruby Bright, the Executive Director of the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis. I'm glad you're in to join us. This is Women's Month. March is always Women's History Month, rather, and we have an exciting guest to join us tonight. So before I talk about, introduce her to you, what I would like to do is kind of give you an update on the Women's Foundation and what's going on with us. March is what we call our Women's Madness Month, and we have many things as we prepare for our April event. And April is just a very, very busy month for us. It's our annual tribute luncheon and symposium, if you haven't heard about it. The Women's Foundation hosts the symposium every year. This is going to be, I think, our 18th year for the event. And it's always new and exciting. Over the last 5 years, it has transformed into 3 different events that happen. First, the Legends Award, and that reception will be held on April 16th. And we have 6 fantastic women that will be honored for their legendary work. And what's unique about the Legends Award and Honor is that these women embody the mission of the Women's Foundation, but they have contributed, their contribution to the community has been, as it says, very legendary. We honor that with 3 components, really. We give them a recognition and award. There's a story written by them by a local writer, artist, and then also an artist who does a rendition of her work. And each one of the women are uniquely different in what they've contributed to, as well as uniquely different in their personalities. And then to couple that with women who are writers and women who are part of the greater art spectrum, including canvas, clay, metal, you name it, doors. I mean, we've had some amazing, legendary women over the since 2009. There have been 21 women recognized for their legendary work, and with the 6th this year, that will make it 27 women who have prose as well as artwork depicting their leadership. Again, I am Ruby Bright. I am the Executive Director of the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis. Welcome to our On Cable Tonight show. Our theme tonight is women's art, and we have a great and fantastic guest. You know, in our community, we have so many treasures, and we believe that women's art is one of those that we need to lift up and share with our community in a collective manner. Again, that is why we feel like our Legends Award is special, because we bring several artists from different mediums together to work together, to also meet amazing people, and just to move the trajectory of their work up and out in the community, not only in Memphis, but across the country and the world. The Women's Foundation, as a part of its mission, is to promote philanthropy, is to foster leadership, and to support programs that help women and children reach their full potential. Since 1995, the Women's Foundation has raised in excess of $14.3 million and granted that out into the community. So we feel a very special commitment, not only to Memphis, but also a special commitment to helping women who need help, a helping hand, those women and children who are living in poverty and want to find a way to get out of poverty. You know, some see poverty, some people see survival. What the Women's Foundation see is hope. Hope for a better future and a better lifestyle for all living in Memphis. Again, I'm Ruby Bright, the Executive Director of the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis, and welcome to our On Cable Tonight show. Our theme is Women for Women's History Month is Women in the Arts, and I have with me Pat Mitchell-Worley. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to have you. And the Memphis Music Foundation you are the Development Director?
Yeah, Development and Communications Director. My alter egos.
Well, they certainly fit you well. We met probably about 10 years ago, I think.
Was it that long? No.
Well,
we'll just tell people that it was.
Well, I know that we did, and your beautiful baby, how old is?
She's 8 now.
Yeah, well, I'll just give it up to
10. Yeah.
Many things change in the life in the world, and I think for you to bring your passion to art. And be connected in the arts field with your communication talent is, I think, a treasure, I believe, for the Memphis Music Foundation.
Well, thank you. I'll tell them that tomorrow.
Well, let's get them to watch our On Cable Tonight show.
And then they'll know. I won't have to say anything.
Yeah. As I said, our theme is Women in Art for March, Women's History Month. So, tell us a little bit about, just really tell us, what does the Memphis Music Foundation do?
Well, we are an economic development and arts nonprofit. We're more economic development. We started out almost 5 years ago. We're going to celebrate our 5th birthday at the end of May. And we have opened a music resource center. And the center is the only one of its kind in the world. It is a place where artists can go, musicians come in, people in the music industry, they come in and they learn about the business of music. A lot of things in Memphis, there are a lot of opportunities to learn about the craft. We've got Soulsville, we've got the Visible Music College, we've got this great program at the University of Memphis. But if you want to learn about the business of music and really get hands-on experience, there aren't a lot of choices for you. And especially if higher education is not your choice, what do? I know I'm supposed to do this, and I'm not going to go to school here, so what choice do I have? So we provide choices. We provide education on everything from how to make money in the business to how to utilize, every economic opportunity to grow your career. And we help artists come up with their music plan, as we call it, their map. And they, this is where I want to go, and we come up with measurable steps to get them there. So for a lot of creative people, it's challenging, to try to figure out, I just want to create music. I don't know anything about creating a budget, So we work with them and help them through that process. When we started the foundation, almost 5 years, when we started out, the goal was that we would have 200 members. That's what we could help with the staff that we have. We have 3,000 and about 3,200 members.
So are your members just local, or are they around
They are local.
Oh,
so
wow.
That just tells you that there are a lot of musicians in Memphis. Our city has, we cultivate talent in the city, and we are lucky enough to have a school system that just nurtures musicians. That's been going on for years. There wouldn't be this great Memphis music history if it wasn't for the school system. There were all these band leaders and music teachers who were teaching the elements of jazz alongside blues, and they were beating these kids into shape.
Yeah.
And so that's why the Bar-Kays were great. That's why just Isaac Hayes was great. Carla Thomas, all of those acts that came out of this great school system. So it continues to this day. So we have a lot of people that work with the foundation, and then you add in the Latino community. We've got this brand new group of people that have relocated to Memphis, or have been born here, and they just don't know the ins and out of music, so they need help also. So we really try to be a resource to these musicians and help them out.
So they say that music and sports is a magnet that really brings all diversity of all people together. And for that moment at that time, it is, there's a common goal, and that is to enjoy, the flavor of music, and that's why it's very important to be a part of the educational process. And also pull out the talents of people who, who, whether they go on to be, a musician or not, but
a musician or a scientist is still a value.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm really surprised. I mean, this is a lot. I'm learning a lot here regarding 3,000 members, and then kind of having, an entrepreneurial arm of support for all of these musicians. That's really great because, the passion to sing or the passion to paint or,
It's something you have to do. If you're called to do it, you have to do it.
Right, and I think that's where it came, probably the term starving artist. Because the passion and the love for the craft, is above the earnings, although you continue to want to, make a living for it. So I see the need for that diversity for intersecting the talent, but also letting that talent become a means, to support yourself.
Exactly. We don't, we tell people all the time we're not trying to create Beyonce or Justin Timberlake. Although Justin Timberlake is our, that would be great. Justin is our largest individual donor, and he's a mountain of support for us. But at the end of the day, if you're good at your craft, you should be able to make a living.
Right.
And that's our goal. And at of all the artists that are within the city, they have a hard time. There are a lot of artists that are that live below the poverty level, not just in music, just artists in general. And it's been like that since the dawn of time, you know?
But that is not, it has been. And as we've worked with the Legends Awards since 2009, I've met a lot of women artists.
Those great artists.
Specific, and just to, not only to see their craft, to see their work, is one thing, but to hear how it was inspired.
It's amazing.
And how, the creativity of putting, patterns and pieces in pottery and, cloth and, leaves and, every part of, the surroundings within your community, are put into this to create this magnificent piece. And many, said, I haven't been able to, show my art the way I want. I haven't been able to really pull out my greatest talent because it costs money and I've got to live. And it's been also inspiring for us because of what we do. We really want to help people reach their full potential. And yes, our primary target audience are, the people that are living below the poverty level or, don't have the resources and access to those resources. But we also want to help build leadership and help, everyone. And it warms our heart from the staff and the board standpoint when, you have someone like a Tobacco Brown that, was chosen and then she just come back and she said, it seems like all the doors open up for me,
And then she created that door.
Right.
That was so fabulous. Well, every year, look at if you really know the women that, are selected, it's amazing how the artwork really, it embodies them. It's, I think about Deanie Parker, Manova Jonica,
yes.
But I was just like, how did this artist just, take interviewing them and talking to them and create this piece that is so them, that so gives you this reproduction, this mirror reflection or what have you of them in their life. It's absolutely, I'm so inspired by artists. I wish I was that talented because there are some truly talented people in the city.
So, with the challenges that you've kind of talked about for the artists, and you creating this space, I think it's amazing to identify that is a big need in the community, and responding, to it and creating the foundation is pretty phenomenal. But within the foundation, are there like organizations? What are the challenges? you know, well, I know as when I saw development, I know one of the challenges is making sure you have the support financially and our leadership to ensure that you can fulfill the mission.
Right.
But what are some of the other challenges? I mean, do people know about the Music Foundation?
I think that it's our awareness continues to grow in the community. I think we have challenges on both sides. We have artists who, you know, they know they need to do something, but they don't necessarily know if this is it. They're intimidated by the idea of, you know, really being professional, you know, not being professional in the sense of they can play and you know, play their instrument or sing or what have you, but this idea of, oh, I'm putting a record out and I need a marketing plan. Well, why do I need you know? So that's one challenge for us. And then I think just with the general public, people look at musician and artists in general and they're like, well, you know, they knew this was going to happen when they decided to do this. This is, you know, they knew that they weren't going to make a lot of money at it, but they're passionate about it, and that's great. And we sort of have this reverence for them being creative people and what they're able to do. But then on the other side, it's like, how can we support them?
Sure.
How can we give them the resources they need so that they stay in Memphis? You know, that they don't go to Atlanta or Nashville and become famous and start putting money into those cities.
Right.
You know, why can't we provide that opportunity here? It's an interesting fact that back in the early 70s, the music industry was the third largest employer in the city of Memphis.
Wow. I
mean, that's just like, what? And it was all based on Stax Records, Stax and High, actually. And it's just amazing how many businesses grew out of just that one record company, distributors, pressing records, all of these things that were needed, that went along with it, advertising people, marketing people, little businesses that set up. And so if you think about that, you look at today, there's a great opportunity for artists because technology has helped them tremendously. Whereas everything used to be in the hands of the major labels. Mm-hmm. They made all the decisions, they developed the artists. Well, they figured out that they don't want to do that anymore. There's not enough money in it. And there's, you know, because of the internet and people getting music, downloading music and stealing music, let's just call it stealing. Yep. And because of that process, the industry it's been evolving and it's so quick. The evolution has been very quick and it hasn't even settled down yet, but artists have a little more control than they did 20 years ago, 50 years ago. They can control their careers. And so what we do is offer them a competitive edge. We make sure that they know what they're doing because they're not competing with the person, you know, down the street playing in another club. They're competing with the person in Thailand or North Korea who has a video on YouTube, you know.
Sure.
Or, you know, it's a global economy. Music is global and technology has allowed us to make it a global thing, but they can sell records around the world. They have an opportunity to do that now. So making sure that our members are aware of what's going on and in the world of music and what the business principles are behind it. And some of them, it's a very hard transition. But for those that get it, that, you know, pick up on it, it changes everything for them.
Is there a difference are the challenges different for men than women? Or
definitely.
Know? Okay.
It is. I guess in you sort of think, oh well, yeah, I'm sure there are some issues, but we have members that have told us stories that just jaw-dropping, like, are you serious? You know, they're predators in every field, you know. And for a lot of our female artists, they tell us the things that they endure, or they, you know, some of them are fortunate enough to have somebody who's looking after them, who's, you know, who's always on their side and looking after their best interests and everything. But yeah, we hear a lot of stories where, and it's from harassment, you know, in the sense that, oh, well, you're not running this, even though you wrote this music. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it because you really don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, kind of thing, and sort of belittling and having issues. And I hear that from, we do mentoring sessions where we have artists come in and meet with our members. And we did a small group with an artist who's on the Stax label in Dombey. And she told us story. You know, these girls are in there and they're just pouring their heart out on the things that they're dealing with, and they, you know, we've got women crying, we've got, you know, I had to do this and this happened to me, and she started telling stories. She said, you know, it really doesn't change, but now I've been able to put a support system around me,
right,
that they watch out for me, they take care of me.
And I think that that's really important, I mean, for anyone.
Exactly.
You know, because vulnerability, imagine, you know, in a volatile industry like the music or any art.
In an industry where sex sells.
Yeah.
Also, that changes the dynamic.
Right.
Definitely.
And because, you know, the presentation, you know, has to be there. And then there are those who, you know, like as you were talking, I was trying to think of female artists that, you know, are just kind of legendary, like Ruby Wilson. Mm-hmm. You know, her mix is her mix, you know, or Ma Rainey, or,
yeah,
you know, I mean, that's, and to be, you know, there, in terms of being famous, you know, I don't know. There are different levels of definition of what is famous.
What is, exactly.
Yeah, what is famous to anyone. And I remember Ruby Wilson was actually asked to, you know, sing at the Lorenzen Wright's memorial service, mm-hmm. And she said one of my goals was to sing, and people would hear me around the. She said around the world, because it was being televised, and she mm-hmm. said today I get that chance today, but I would have not traded. I would never have taken it if I had to have a choice of whether he would be here or not. And I thought, what a beautiful spirit, you know, yeah. that is, and I think that personal approach to the care of the community.
Definitely.
Is embodied in art, and you see that, you know, because just for a moment, you know, I want to talk about art in its bigger, you know, mm-hmm. Hemisphere. Yes, in Memphis, you know, on the walls, you know, seeing murals on the walls of buildings, to, you know, walking down Main Street, and, you know, you know, the Green Line, you know, all of those things that just builds the quality of life in our community. I think that that's an attribute that is undersold in our community.
Definitely. And there are, the other piece of it is, it's so nice, and I don't know if I'm just hyper aware, but it's so nice that for every male artist that I can think of in a different medium, there's a female that's just as good. Yeah. And so it even you know, you go to the metal museum and you think, oh yeah, it's a bunch of guys sitting around and they're hammering metal, and you walk into the shop and there are a couple of women working. Yeah. You know, so I think of all of the things within our community, how we are. This city is so blessed to have artists in a lot of them. They take care of each other. Right. You know, they work together. They have opportunities to create together and across different mediums, just because organizations like yours make the opportunity for them. So that, you know, that's the important piece, is that the community recognizes that. And an artist gets the opportunity to make money, make a living at what they do, right, by people going out and supporting them, by, you know, buying their art, right, giving it to a friend instead of going to Macy's. Oops. Or, you know, going to a gift shop at an organization and buying something that's a one-of-a-kind gift, or going out to see a show, or going to see a play. That's how you support the arts in our community. Absolutely. Is you participate. Right. And so
And giving kudos to the artists when there's an opportunity. And the Artists for Legends are our recognition event honor. They range, the youngest one was 22 to 96, and they just embody all of that that we have. I'm excited about the Legends honorees this year. Dr. Rosie Bingham, Kathy Buckman Gibson, Carolyn Hardy, Hazel Moore, the mayor of Whitehaven, as they call her, Barbara Prescott, and Rachel Shankman. I think that this roster of women, really epitomizes the community in many ways, from a female perspective. And we just learned so much as a result of working with these amazing artists. I really appreciate you, being here with us tonight to tell us about, the purpose of the Music Foundation. So if people are interested, what should they, I don't know what the criteria is for membership.
All you have to do is go to our website. You can either sign up as a member under our Music Resource Center, or you can sign up for our newsletter, and it's memphismeansmusic.com.
Right, so, and the telephone number, just if they want to talk to someone,
901-527-1029.
Okay, so the Memphis Music Foundation, I know your phone will be buzzing off with a lot of the young people who, I see so many young people investing in music and, building their label and their record. And I say that because I have a couple of nephews who, really anticipate being very famous sometime soon.
Well, even if you don't, the thing is, with any business, with any opportunity, there is risk. But the process, the journey is amazing, and it prepares you for something else. That next thing that comes along. We have so many artists who think they want to be artists and they want to be out front, and then they get into it and they're like, oh man, I love producing.
Yeah.
Or I love booking shows. I want people to hear other artists. And so they start doing promotion work, and they find themselves.
Careers, right? There are careers within the industry.
Many careers.
That is not just performing. So, well, again, thank you for joining us. And if you're just joining us, with me is Pat Mitchell-Worley. She is the Development and Communications Vice President for the Memphis Music Foundation, and she's here as a part of our Women's History Month. So thank you, Pat, for being with us. We appreciate you sharing this information, and I look forward to you joining us not only at our reception, but we have our annual tribute luncheon. And speaking of music and women, our speaker this year is Bean, who started in Broadway, and she decided a couple years ago, what, my passion is entertaining. I want to be an artist. She has a soulful, singing voice. She loves Memphis music. She loves the blues. She has many connections here. Really resonate with the Stax Museum, and so I think she's going to be visiting Stax Academy when she's when she's here. She really wants to connect with the music and the people that she loves so much. So the luncheon is going to be April 26th. April 26th from 11:15 to 1:15 at the Cook Convention Center, the annual tribute luncheon and symposium. If you want more information, go to our website at wfgm.org or call 578-9346. Thank you, Pat, for being with us this evening, and we wish the best for the Memphis Music Foundation.
Thank you.
And to you. Thank you.